Check 1 2, check 1 2. Seconds away, in fact, showtime for this special edition of Tornado Talk. Usually find us every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. across the street at Dugan's Pub. But this evening, a special edition of Tornado Talk right here at Myers Dining Hall on the Brevard College campus. Glad you're able to join us both here in person at Myers Dining Hall and worldwide on Facebook Live. So excited to have you all here. And the reason for this special edition is twofold. One, the men's soccer team played last night, preempting our usual Monday night show. The men's soccer team with a big win, 3-1 over Bob Jones. We'll be talking to a couple of those men's soccer players later in the show. Reason number two is the Brevard College cycling team has made it home to Brevard, North Carolina, all the way from Missoula, Montana. The cycling team competing in the USA Cycling National Championships on the collegiate side, a fourth place finish for the Brevard College cycling team at those national championships. Congratulations to them, and you'll be getting to meet many of those cyclists in just a couple minutes. Also on the show this evening, we will have two women's soccer seniors who will be honored this Saturday. We'll also hear from some of the climbing student athletes. So climbing having its fall competition this weekend. We'll preview that. And our weekly segment with head football coach Bill Khayat. So an exciting show coming up, this special edition of Tornado Talk, a rocking scene here at Myers Dining Hall, a chopped competition going on the far side of the dining hall, and Tornado Talk special edition here on the near side of Myers Dining Hall. Now, to catch you up, what you may have missed this past week, the big news, of course, Brevard College cycling finishing fourth in Division I team at the USA Cycling Collegiate Mountain Bike National Championships. That was all the way in Missoula, Montana. 10th time in the last 11 years that Brevard has secured a top four finish at that event. We'll be hearing from some of those cyclists soon, and just big results for the Tornadoes in Missoula, Montana. Football game over the weekend that we'll be reviewing with Coach Bill Khayat as well. A tough result, 29-21 to North Carolina Wesleyan, but an exciting game that went down to the very last minute. And coming up this weekend, all sorts of activity, actually beginning tomorrow. Women's soccer at Pfeiffer at 5 p.m. Volleyball will be home in their home finale versus Agnes Scott at the Bosch. That's at 6 p.m. Hope you can join us on Wednesday night, tomorrow night for volleyball. Cross country will be heading to the USA South Conference Championships in Maryville, Tennessee on Friday. Men's soccer home against LaGrange on Friday at 2 p.m. And then Saturday. What a day of Brevard College Tornado athletics this coming Saturday, all beginning with volleyball on the road. They have a tri-match in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. They'll face off against Covenant and Pensacola Christian, and then it really gets busy. 12 o'clock here. Men's soccer will be home versus Piedmont International at 12 p.m. That's senior day for the men's soccer team. 2 p.m. at Brevard Memorial Stadium. Football versus LaGrange. 2 p.m. as well. Climbing at the Brevard Rock Climbing Gym, the climbing fall competition, which we'll talk about a bit later in the show. Women's soccer, 3 p.m. Saturday. You won't want to miss that one. Senior day, and an incredible senior class for the women's soccer team being honored on senior day. So a jam-packed day Saturday. I know our athletic director, Miranda Nash, is planning on shuffling around Brevard to make all those events, while depending on your interests, you may want to head over to Brevard Memorial Stadium, you may want to head to the Brevard Rock Climbing Gym, or just stick here on campus and check out men's and women's soccer. That's all on Saturday. And then one final note, looking ahead, Monday of next week, Monday, October 29th, women's soccer with their final home game of the season. That's a game that wasn't on the original schedule, but women's soccer will play one final time in the regular season because they're going for that ECAC postseason play. at 3 p.m. on Monday. 7 o'clock we'll have Tornado Talk at Dugan's Pub, and then 9 p.m. make sure you're at the Bosch at the gymnasium for Tornado Tip-Off, a Midnight Madness type setting for the tip-off of men's and women's basketball. So an exciting show ahead in this special edition of Tornado Talk, and all sorts of activity coming up as we are thrilled to be here at the Myers Dining Hall. Just an electric scene. The chopped competition on one side and Tornado Talk special edition, an inside look at Brevard College athletics. So as we start to gather our cyclists, once again, I can't emphasize enough how exceptional this Brevard College cycling program has been over the years. 10 times in the last 11 years, just in the mountain bike discipline, the Tornadoes have finished in the top 4 nationally. So that's top 4 in the entire nation. 6 mountain bike national championships over that span. Also 4 national championships in cyclocross, which will be coming up soon. So we are greeted now by some of those cyclists at the moment. All right, we got 4 of them right away, right off the bat.
And you guys can put your microphone.
Phil DeMama and Scott McGill, good to see you.
You're going to share one?
You want to grab that mic?
He addresses it to you, just switch. Okay, so you start with it.
God.
Put that mic nice and close to your mouth. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, are we set? Everyone hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
All right. Scott McGill, Zack Lowden,
Yep.
Hannah Dickson, Nicole Rusden. Nicole Rusden, Hannah Dickson. You guys pulled a quick switch on me there. Okay. We're really excited to have you. Welcome home. You guys made it back all the way from Missoula, Montana. You represented Brevard College at the national championships for mountain bike. We'll just go down the line here. And when we get to you ladies, once you're done, if you can just pass the headset to your teammate there, Nicole handing it off to Hannah when we get to you. But Scott, we'll start with you. What was the experience like kind of in, 2-3 minutes, start to finish, just the experience of representing Brevard College at the national championships?
It was a lot of fun this weekend. The weekend went by super fast. We you didn't really have time to blink at all. But the weather was great, and it was an awesome experience to be out in Montana. And everyone got along great, and we kicked some butt, so it was fun.
No doubt about it. Zack, how about you? How'd it go for you?
Yeah, no, it was a great race for everyone. It's my senior year, so it's kind of a bittersweet race out there for me, just being my last nationals for mountain bike as a student. But yeah, I mean, just what Scott said, everyone raced super well. I mean, conditions were perfect. There was no problems with anyone's health or bikes or anything like that. Just super smooth and just really, really good racing out of us.
And Nicole, this was your first trip to the national championships, Missoula, Montana. Tell me about the site, Marshall Mountain, high elevation there. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're high in the mountains here in Brevard, North Carolina, even higher there in Montana. Mm-hmm. Was that a factor at all? And what are your overall thoughts of the event?
Well, luckily we have Pisgah National Forest in our backyard, and we have a lot of practice with elevation. So it wasn't too much different, but it was a little bit different, especially the soil conditions are different than here at Pisgah.
Great. And now if you'd be so kind to pass the headset so gently to Hannah. Now, Hannah, welcome to Tornado Talk. Can you hear me okay? You got it?
Yeah.
Your first trip as well to the national championships. How'd it feel to have the Brevard College uniform on and representing, everybody back here home at the national championships?
It was super awesome. So I'm a freshman, so I was super excited that I got to go out there. I've never been to a race that big, so I thought it was really cool.
Outstanding. Now, back to you, Scott. Scott, You placed 32nd in cross country. I know that's a strong event for the Tornadoes throughout. A lot of competition up there. One of the things I find fascinating is you guys usually compete in the southeastern region down here, and you get a look at the other teams nearby. But when you go to nationals, you're seeing a whole other group of riders who you may never have met before. Perhaps you have in some national competitions. Is that a factor as you go through your reps yourself?
Yeah, it's definitely a little intimidating when you show up and you know that all the schools in Colorado have been at elevation. They're acclimated already to the elevation, and we have to come up and race against them. But then once you get in the race, they're just people too, so it's just like any old race. It doesn't feel any different to me. Okay,
now one thing I've been trying to do every Tornado Talk is educating the audience on what your sport's all about. Because let's face it, not everybody, sports fans out there, know what it's all about. In layman's terms, I'd like for you to describe what your sport is, and as an athlete, how does one become one, and what does it take to be a top competitor?
Yeah, for Scott and I, we are both kind of the endurance side of mountain biking. So basically what our races consist of is kind of the first one, cross-country discipline, is basically 2 hours of riding in the woods against competitors. Montana, it happened to be 3 climbs in a row. All 3 of them were about 1,000 feet up and down. And then we also race short track, which is basically a 30-minute, 20-minute sprint all out, which is much more intense, of basically just a group sprinting against each other for 20 minutes trying to come out on top. And then some of our girls, and we have a few other gravity events, which is exactly what it sounds like. They shuttle them to the top of a mountain in trucks, and then it's the fastest one down against the clock.
And now, Nicole, next up is cyclocross as far as a discipline goes. Can you describe to the audience who's never heard of cyclocross what's cyclocross all about?
This will actually be my first year of cyclocross. I'm mostly a mountain biker, but hopefully I get this right. Cyclocross, it's more of like a road bike rather than mountain bike, but a little bit different. And it's a shorter track, so it's really audience friendly. And you basically have a shorter track, and you race a bunch of opponents, and you jump off your bike to do some obstacles.
Great. That's helpful, actually, for a novice like myself, and I know the audience as well. Now, if you'd pass that to Hannah, I've got another question for Hannah Dickson. Hannah, you're local, right? You grew up here.
Yes,
You're from
sir.
Brevard High School. I know your father's big in the mountain biking scene as well.
Yeah.
2 things. 1, at what age did you start riding a mountain bike? And 2, how cool is it for you to get to go to school here at Brevard College and represent the Tornadoes now in Brevard, all over the country?
So I don't actually remember when I started mountain biking. I was probably young. I don't know. My dad was pulling me around in the trailer even when I was little. He was towing me around DuPont and stuff. And it's really cool to represent Brevard College because I've lived here for so long that it's kind of cool to represent the place that I love so much. I loved it so much I couldn't even leave.
Outstanding. Now, Scott, you placed 4th in the men's individual omnium. First of all, that's a new word for me. I've been around sports my whole life. I've heard of omnium. I haven't heard that word anywhere else. What is omnium for the layman?
So omnium is basically a combined point value of all of the events. So we actually had 3 guys on the men's overall omnium podium, and that just shows that we have to use every rider more than every other team does. So we use every rider at their fullest ability and place them in every event possible. While other teams get, some riders only do 2 events and other riders do 1 event in some cases. And since we don't have the biggest team, we just use every rider to their fullest ability.
Yeah, and I'd imagine from a coaching perspective, there's some strategy as far as, who you use where, to go for both the individual and the team omnium.
Yeah, if you do too many events, you might do okay in every event, but you won't do well in every event. So you save some guys for some events and sit them out in others.
Now, Scott, you're from Falston, Maryland. Again, 4th place in that men's individual omnium. You're a senior. You've been here at Brevard College. Kind of put a bow on it as far as your mountain biking career here at Brevard College. How meaningful has it all been?
Yeah, mountain biking is definitely one of the most fun disciplines of the sport, and it's a blast every fall to come out and hang out with your teammates every weekend at the local races, and then travel out to nationals and race the best guys in the country. So it's been a fun time, but there's still 2 more seasons to go this year, so I'm still excited.
Outstanding. And Zach, are you ready for cyclocross?
Yeah, I hope so. Will be a nice little bit of a break for a week or so after this mountain bike nationals, but then it's time to ramp it up again for cyclocross season.
Okay, and last question for you, Nicole. I know the athletic department and your coaches, put the resources together to get the new trailer, which made its trip all the way out to Missoula, Montana. Coach Purley, I believe, drove the trailer all by himself to go out there, and Coach Cypress and Brad are now heading back, and I believe pretty close to making it home.
They just made it back, actually.
They just made it
yeah.
back. It's got to be record time, Montana to North Carolina. How cool is that to have some brand new equipment, and not just the trailer, but also I saw the tent you guys had set up at the event. It looked fantastic. As far as those sort of resources and the support you get here at Brevard College.
Oh, it was definitely awesome. It made things a lot easier having a trailer that we could put our bikes in and make sure that they were safe throughout the night, and then having the tent to keep out of the sun was great as well. It definitely made us look more professional and put together as well.
Outstanding. Well, Scott McGill, Zack Lowden, Nicole Rusden, and Hannah Dickson, congratulations. Thank you for representing Brevard College at the Mountain Bike National Championships. Welcome home. I know you need some well-deserved rest. I know that's part of being a cyclist, too, as far as resting your body and that kind of thing. I'm sure you guys are exhausted. Yeah. But thanks for making time for us here at Tornado Talk, and we'll see you down the road. Yeah. We'll be following.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so that was Scott McGill, Zack Lowden, Hannah Dickson, and Nicole Rusden, 4 of those cyclists who made the trip to Missoula, Montana. And now we're joined by 2 more. And now we're joined by 2 more of those cyclists. Tyler Orschel and Carson Beckett. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Appreciate you making some time for us after this long trip all the way to Missoula, Montana. Tyler, we'll start for you. Some, big results. You finished number 2 in the Omnium. Mm-hmm. Tornadoes finished 2, 3, 4 in the Omnium. Yeah. And it all came down to that relay in a lot of ways, as far as also us getting the 4th place team victory. Let's start with the relay, because that sounded fascinating. First, the Tornadoes were the only team with just 3 riders, using Hannah for 2 of the laps. How big was the relay, and what were you feeling along the way as far as how much was on the line during that relay?
I think for Brevard, the relay is just always the biggest event of the weekend for us. We've always had strong showing in the relay, and it's just an event that you can do at the end of the weekend, and you can just give it everything. You don't have to hold back. You don't have to save anything. You just bury yourself. I think that's why we like it so much.
Nice. And Tyler also won the Southeastern Conference Omnium Championship, which is a long title, as far as your results throughout the year goes. Was that something you had your eye on throughout the year as far as, a goal for yourself personally?
I didn't until near the end of the season. Brad mentioned to me that I was leading the Omnium, and that if I wanted to try and chase it, that I could go and do all of the races. And it just ended up working out.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that, and also the big result at the national championships. And it was just thrilling to see the results come in, and especially that last day with that team relay. And Carson, let's stick with the team relay. And thanks for being on the show again. It was fun to meet you a couple weeks back. The team relay, I was given the report that you turned the fastest lap of every competitor in the relay, and you ran the first lap for our team, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
How big was that to, get out of the gates fast and put us ahead, and in good position in that relay?
Yeah, it's interesting because relay is an event where you have a lot of different approaches to it. Every team does differently. For instance, we only had 3, like you said, 2 guys, 1 girl. Most have 2 and 2 each, and they could split it up, maybe guy, girl, or stack the middle with girls. There's a big combination of ways you can do it and approach it depending on your riders, and it's very tactical. You got to know the other teams as well, and so we wanted to have a really good first lap, of course, to give us some buffer because we know. Hannah's going to have the hardest job having to go out twice. So, like Tyler said, it's really you don't think. Like, you also don't have oxygen in your brain probably at that point. But, no, it's the last event, and it's 3.5, 4-minute climb, just everything you have. And so that's what I did and tried to give us all the time I could. And then Hannah went out for her first run and held on the best she could. And then Tyler went out and took the lead for us and gave her a big gap. And then, we knew other teams were going to have a really, really strong last lap. And so we just had to trust that Hannah could do everything she could, her second time. So we're proud of her for sure. And it was a big team effort.
Now, there's 2 photos that are circulating through social media that I want you to comment on, Carson. The first one is a team shot, which I think was taken either right before or right after the team relay. But the bottom line, if someone were to look at the photo, is the 3 of you, the 3 team relay members, are in uniform. The rest of the team, their weekend as far as riding is done.
Yeah.
They're in street clothes, chilling. But I'm sure they're cheering you guys on and behind you 100%. How big is that when you guys are running the relay race to know that your team's there and cheering you on along the way, and that you're doing it for them too, not just yourselves?
It was huge because, I know they were up there for Tyler as well, but like when I went out first lap and it was me and the rest of the guys, like to come around halfway up through the climb when you're already done and you don't think you can push anymore. I'd come around the corner and see 4, 5, 6 people running with me with a flag, yelling, and it really does do leaps and bounds for what you think you can put out. And so it was huge to have those guys. And imagine your lap was the same way.
Yeah, I ran into them about 2 minutes into a 5.5-minute lap, and at that point I was already deep in the red zone of suffering. And I saw them, and then all I heard was, "We're running beside you." And then they started running beside me. They didn't stop for at least a minute.
Like when you say running, literally running, sprinting?
So I was going up the
you?
hill on my bike,
Right.
and they were literally running right beside me.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a cool feeling.
Now, earlier in the weekend, Friday, the cross-country event, I took a look at that course map of the cross-country race. It looked insane, and some very high elevation change from the start of the race to the top and then back down, correct? I'd like to hear from both of you as far as that course goes and just how challenging that men's cross-country event was. Carson finished 7th, Tyler 8th, so you guys may have been riding close to each other much of it, I'm not sure, but tell us about the cross-country race.
Yeah, it was 3 laps of laps about 33 minutes long. And yeah, I've raced there in the summer before, and they do shorter laps, but for collegiate, for some reason, they literally take us to the peak of the mountain. So you start, and when you start, it's basically from the start to the top is one consistent climb. You're climbing for 25, 26 minutes, near a half hour, just straight climbing. And
wow.
And then it's, you come back down in a fraction of the time and you go back up. So it was brutal, and you had to pace it, or else you were not, the race was going to be over quick. And I had a really good first lap, was feeling great, and then I just kind of got stuck in second gear, and thankfully Tyler came up and helped me to sort of be revived, and me and him spent basically the rest of the race together. So.
And Tyler, similar thoughts as far as that cross country?
Yeah, it's just most courses are much different from that course where you'll give a couple minute effort up a hill and then you'll have some recovery down, maybe some flat terrain. Whereas this one, you got to pace yourself for a 20, 25-minute climb, and then you have 6 minutes of recovery on the downhill, but then you got to do that climb 2 more times. So trying to figure out how to pace that was definitely a challenge, but we're definitely both suited for that sort of course because we're both smaller and lighter than the average. But
simple physics, right?
Yeah. First lap for me was good. I was with the lead group. There was about 6 of us. Carson was on the front of it. And then just as we crested the top of the climb, I got dropped off the back of that group. But then descending is more my strength, and I caught back to the end of the group by the end of the first lap. And then second lap, I met up with Carson, and then we rode to the top of the climb on the third lap together.
Very cool. Now, I would imagine physically you've got to regroup, reset your body, rest, whatever, hydrate, I would imagine is part of it, because you got the short track coming up soon thereafter, right? Some good finishes in the short track as well. Tyler, you finished second. Carson finished sixth. Scott, who we just talked to, finished eighth. So 3 top 10s amongst the Tornadoes, which is huge. Tell us about the short track and how that went for you guys.
Short track was, it's not usually one of my strong suits, but this year, because of that conference championship that I won, I actually got called up on the front line of that race, so I had a really good position off the start, and I was able to hop into the front group. And as a team, our goal was just to get as many guys to the front as possible. So for the first 15 minutes of the 30-minute race, I kind of sat in the group of 4 that was at the front, and was kind of just waiting to see what would happen, see if Carson or Scott was going to join us. But then midway through the race, I realized that I was just going to have to start making some moves. And then it was just like who could wear each other out the most at that point.
Nice. And Carson, similar as far as the short track goes for yourself?
Yeah. Thankfully, we had Tyler on the front row because after that, like, our next call-up was, I think it was me in 26, so 4 or 5 rows back. And so basically, me, Scott, Tyler, Clark tried to basically spin the first 4, 5, 6 laps, just like trying to get through people to the front. And we were hoping to join Tyler and kind of like have some more force up front and have more teammates up there. But basically we just wore ourselves out trying to get up there and then just got stuck kind of where we were. But yeah, short track is, you can't really pace it. Like it's basically, I mean, groups form kind of like a road race, but essentially everyone is just mano, like everything you've got until someone gives up with 1 to go. And this one was brutal because it was pretty much, it had a lot of climbing. Most are pretty flat, and this one even had some climbing in it. So there's nothing you can do. But yeah, like you said, that was our second event of the weekend. So for Tyler and I doing Omnium, like we had XC, and then we had practices shoved in between other endurance races, and it was like, we were just trying to stay on top of food and drinking and changing and practice and qualifying, and then another race. So it got hectic.
Great. And last one for you guys. So my impression is you specialize in the distance. The cross country is your best event. However, if you're going for that Omnium, you've got to place fairly well in the gravity events, the dual slalom and the downhill. Talk about that adjustment, going from cross country and short track and then having to probably reset a lot of your thinking, for those gravity events.
Yeah. I know for me, it was my first time racing the gravity events in nationals, and because I had never raced them with that much competition before, I kind of went in with the attitude of I just need to have fun and push it as much as I can, and that's all I can do, because I never competed at that level in those events, so I don't know how to compete to win in those kind of events. So it was kind of just like getting through it.
Playing it smart, I imagine.
Smart would be a good word. Not overdoing myself.
Makes sense. And Carson, how familiar are you with those gravity events? And I would imagine that was a pretty challenging, downhill and dual slalom by the looks of that mountain.
For sure. Thankfully, I guess, yeah, I don't know. It helps me that this is my third year being able to do Omnium with the team. I did it at Snowshoe and then Montana last year, and this year makes my third year, but like it doesn't get any easier because there are guys that come from all over the place that's what they specialize in. Like they're there to win dual slalom or downhill, and they're all in for it. And for us, we're trying to push it but to an extent we just don't want to get hurt so we can compete the next day. And so it's hard enough just to qualify for an event or to get in the points. So that's really a challenge with Omnium is, you've got to dedicate 100% to each event, and so one or two events might lack if you do, but that's part of it. So.
Yeah. Cool. Well, congratulations, guys. Second, third, and fourth in the Omnium. To see 3 tornadoes. Hey, there's only 5 spots on that podium. We had 66% of it, were Brevard College athletes. So outstanding result in that team relay. Wish Hannah could have been here with us, as well to, really break it down. But I know you guys need some much deserved rest after just an insane weekend. Thanks for making some time for the show today. Congratulations, and thanks for representing Brevard College at the National Championships.
Thanks,
guys.
for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Tyler Orschel and Carson Beckett of the Brevard College cycling team, fresh off that national championships. And now joined by 4 more. From the Brevard College cycling team. Great to have you with us. Nathan, good to see you again.
Will.
Hey, Will.
Lucas.
Hi, Hannah. Hannah, you did make it. I'm glad to see you here.
I was putting a teammate's stuff in the bike group.
Hey, totally understand it. Like, I'm not, I'm just thrilled that you guys are here after this unbelievable trip to Missoula, Montana. Nathan, we'll start with you. You're a specialist in the gravity events, yes, downhill and dual slalom. What was that course like at Marshall Mountain? I mean, looked steep and high, to me, from, my vantage point. What was it like, and, how'd you feel in the downhill and dual slalom?
So the course in Montana was pretty high speed. It was really flowy, and it was really all about keeping that speed up the entire time down the track. Anytime you slowed up on that course because it was so high speed, you were losing time. So really maintaining that high speed all the way down was really key to get a good time.
Makes sense. Will, your first trip to the national championships.
Yeah, it was.
What were your impressions of the entire weekend?
It was a great time. A lot of hanging out with the teammates, some really fun riding. It was really good overall week.
And Lucas, your first trip as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was it like? Hey, we're in Brevard, North Carolina. I mean, I know that it's mountainous out there in Missoula, Montana, but I can't think of too many other similarities between North Carolina and Montana. Did it take a minute or two to get comfortable? Different time zone, different state, different side of the country, or did you guys feel at home right away?
Yeah, the terrain out there is a little softer than what we have out here, a little more like kitty litter, so there's less grip, less braking traction, things like that. So it took a few runs to get used to, but it's pretty quick after that.
Overall, pretty quick. Nice.
Yeah.
If you could pass that microphone ever so gently to Hannah. Hannah, thanks for joining us. Now, I just talked to your 2 teammates from that team relay, and so I heard their perspective. Now I want to hear from you. Now, just to catch people up, Brevard was the only team with just 3 riders in the team relay.
That is
with
correct.
you running 2 laps.
Yes.
As far as mentally preparing for the relay, how difficult is that, or what's your mindset when you know you have 2 laps to run?
Yeah. It's hard. You've done 4 events, the short track, cross country, dual slalom, and downhill, and it's the last event, and you have 2 laps of that. So for me, it's just kind of like a letting go. Like literally everything I have left, I'm going to try to give. Typically for that first lap, try to go like not 100%, more like 90. So then you can like absolutely blow everything in that last lap. But sometimes it doesn't work. So, just knowing that you're going to be gassed any way you go at it. So just accepting that and just keep pushing.
Yeah. Well, you guys did something right, that's for sure. I mean, an amazing second place finish, really locking up that fourth place, spot on the team side. You also, made it to the podium on the individual omnium, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How good does it feel to be back home?
Really good. It was nice to get a long night of sleep last night, to be honest, and feel the nice, moist air of the North Carolina compared to the dry air of Montana. It's really nice.
Dry, and even though it gets cold here, even colder at times up there
for sure.
in Montana at those elevations, particularly. Last one for you, Hannah. Cyclocross coming up next. What are your goals for this season? Are you already starting to mentally prepare as far as a different training regimen heading into the cyclocross season? And what can we expect as folks who will be following along?
Well, this season's very interesting for me. I'm doing this immersion semester with the Wilderness Leadership Department. So part of that semester, we've planned a 21-day backpacking trip.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I'm going to be heading out on October 30th, so a week from yesterday, or a week from today, actually.
Now, quick question. Do they let you take your bike?
No.
No?
No, we'll be rock climbing and canoeing, so it'll be a different type of training. I'll be getting up early in the morning and doing some core and some running just to keep that solid. Running does really well for some cross training, and we'll be doing some pretty good muscular work all day. Just the basics of backpacking. It's going to be some different muscle groups, but I'm going to hopefully come back strong and get back on the bike on November 19th and hammer away. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds great, and sounds like a amazing trip you guys will be taking with that program. And how cool is it here at Brevard College that you can actually take a class in that? And
it's going to be super cool.
Yeah, nice. I'm looking for some reports from that one as well, Hannah. Now, Nathan, back to you. As far as Brevard College and the team chemistry and how you guys kind of get along, you're witnessing there's 60 teams at this event, so it's just human nature that you're looking and checking out how the other folks might be doing things. What do you guys feel like, starting with you, Nathan, that Brevard College sort of separates itself from the other programs as far as the way you guys conduct yourself and the operation you guys run and so forth?
I think the biggest thing is that no matter how one of our races go, all of our racers, whenever it's over, we all congratulate all the other teams, no matter whether we got 50th or we won. We always make sure that we go up and congratulate all the other teams and really make sure that we're supporting everybody. And, I personally know a lot of people from around the country that are on those other teams, and it's really cool to see, some old racing buddies and meet tons of people all week. It's really a cool experience, but I think the biggest thing that sets us apart is that, and I think it shocks a lot of the other teams when, even if we don't, do as well, we all still come up and congratulate everybody and really put that positivity out there.
Now, Will, I'd like to bring it back locally here. You're from Asheville, North Carolina, not just up the road. We're part of the Asheville area here. How did you get into cycling? And how big is it in this area of the country in Asheville to make it easy on you as far as enjoying, your sport?
Yeah, I used to play baseball, and then I stopped doing that, and a friend actually invited me to go ride with him, and I just had an old bike and took it out and was hooked ever since.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, and congratulations. And last one for you, Lucas. Freshman from Richmond, Virginia. I know we've got many student athletes from the state of Virginia, including some on the cycling team. How big is the scene up there in Richmond as far as cycling goes?
There's a pretty large road biking scene and cross-country mountain biking, so the gravity scene has just started to develop out there. So me and a couple of my friends have started doing a whole lot of that stuff. But the gravity scene out there isn't too huge, so that's why I'm here now.
Yeah, that's great. And so far here at Brevard College, what are you majoring in, and are you enjoying your experience thus far?
Yeah, I'm gonna major in Willie, like Hannah is. So
will you be on that trip with Hannah, or
no?
No, that's a more advanced class that's coming.
Yeah. So I'll be doing that, and it's been a pretty great experience so far. Just riding my bike and going to class.
Great. Well, on behalf of everyone at Brevard College, congratulations. Thank you for representing Brevard College at the national championships. I mean, the run that the program as a whole is on is just incredible. We can't celebrate it enough or talk about it enough to really do it justice, but you guys did a great job representing the school out there in Montana. It was a lot of fun, although we had to, wait until the time zones caught up to really learn what exactly happened each day. But once we did, it was great to be able to celebrate those results. And congratulations again. Thank you for making time for this show, too, because I know you guys, need some much-deserved rest. So enjoy the rest of your week. Welcome back to campus, and thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. So Nathan St. Clair, Will Hegedus, Lucas Pound, and Hannah Arensman rounding out our celebration of the Brevard College mountain biking program, as we will now shift focus to women's soccer. Hello, ladies, if you can each put on that headset there. Okay, joined now by Sakuma and Lane Berchtold. Thanks for coming on the show today, ladies.
Course.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why we wanted to have you each on the show was it's senior day this Saturday.
Yeah.
Lane, you've been here 4 years, and it'll be your, even though there's one more game on Monday that, was part of the rescheduling, it'll be, really your swan song and your time to celebrate with, family and friends, your career here. Talk about your 4 years here at Brevard College, and is it bittersweet to, have senior day coming up this Saturday?
Definitely. It's been quite a journey being here for 4 years, because coming in, I'm from California, so it's been rough the first season, and then I had an injury, and then I kind of had to work my way back up to get to where I am now. But it's definitely a very bittersweet moment. Well, it's going to be a bittersweet moment that and everyone's gonna experience on Saturday.
Now, Lane, you all have enjoyed a lot of success this season. I mean, it's been a great year. At one point, a 5-game winning streak, which broke the school record in the NCAA era. All sorts of individual and team highlights.
Yeah.
Tell me and tell the audience just how special this group is. I know there's a lot of seniors, a lot of key parts, but, what's clicking this year?
I think it's really the chemistry, and all us girls, when we first came in, we did things together and got to know each other, and we just worked really well together. And I think that's a huge thing that we've lacked in the past few years that I've been here. And it's definitely been all about the chemistry that we've made.
Now, Mai Sakuma.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Now, you played here at Brevard College last year, but
Yeah.
you will be graduating this year, and so you'll be part of that senior day ceremony as well on Saturday. How did you find Brevard College? Because you're from Japan.
Yeah. My recruiter, his friend with Coach Wang. Yeah, that's why I can find here.
Excellent. And you'll be graduating with a degree in exercise science. What do you plan on doing professionally after you graduate?
I want to become soccer coaching with young kids. That's my future plan.
Well, I know you're helping out with the team this year as a student assistant and gaining some valuable experience there. Now, last thing for you, how have you liked it here at Brevard College? How has your experience been?
It's hard. Japanese soccer style and American soccer style is totally different, but our team is really nice and coach is really nice. I really enjoy coaching and played soccer here.
Yeah, under that leadership of Coach Juan Mascaro, no doubt doing an amazing job with you all. Now, Lane, back to business. You know, we've got a game tomorrow, road game. Got a game Saturday, senior day. There's going to be all sorts of distractions and emotions and all that. And then you've got the game Monday. 3 more games left in this regular season.
Yeah.
Still a big goal on the horizon, which is qualifying for that postseason in the ECAC. What's the mindset of yourself, the team, heading into these last 3 games?
Pretty much that we just need to focus on the game that we're going to be playing. So tomorrow, it's just going to be all about tomorrow's game. And then Saturday, we'll go in, okay, this is Saturday's game. And then same for Monday. We just need to go in with the mindset. We've been working so hard to get where we are, and we need to keep that mentality up. With me, I know that I know what I need to do to be 100% for my team and my teammates, and I just need to do what needs to be done to get a win these next 3 wins.
Yeah, it sounds like a great plan. Take them one at a time. That starts tomorrow night at Pfeiffer at 5 p.m. And then come on down here on campus Saturday, 3 p.m., home versus Piedmont. That's your senior day. You know, it should be a fantastic. Actually, the senior day is against Regent on 3 p.m. Saturday, and then one last home game. If you can't make the Saturday one, come on over on Monday at 3 o'clock versus Piedmont. So, you know, still some work to do now. You've got a day of rest in between, you know, Saturday to Monday. You know, as a athlete, as a, you know, soccer student athlete, how difficult is it when there is actually a back-to-back, you know, that you have to, you know, get your legs back where they need to be and get back after it? Yeah.
So when we have back-to-back games, a Saturday and Sunday or Friday and Saturday, usually we go and get a treatment right away after the game, and then the next day we go and get full treatment. But when we have a game and then a day of rest and then another game, that is very, very helpful because we get a full recovery, and then you just go from there.
Well, thank you for being on the show. 2 of the 6 seniors that will be celebrated on Saturday, my Sakuma, Lane Berchtold, also Elise Humans, Caroline David, Ashley Hughes, and Megan Shina. It's going to be quite a day on Saturday as you guys, you know, symbolically wrap up your tornado career. Congrats on a great 4-year. Congrats on your upcoming degree and your future plans. Thanks for joining us tonight on Tornado Talk, and, you know, we'll be watching every step of the way.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, my Sakuma and Lane Berchtold, 2 of those seniors that will be honored on Saturday, 3 p.m. versus Regent right here on the Brevard College campus. Hope you can make it for that one. And we'll keep this senior day theme going with 2 more seniors.
How you doing?
Bry Moore and Chris Efenecy.
Hey,
good to see you guys. Yeah, good to see y'all. Well, guys, before we get into the senior day, you know, theme of the show, last night, you know, I had the pleasure of witnessing a exciting 3-1 win over Bob Jones. It seemed like you guys played some of the best soccer of the year last night. So, you know, it seems like to me you're peaking at the right time in a sense. Chris, we'll start with you. You know, how'd it go last night, you know, from the defender standpoint?
I mean, it just felt good. Everybody's playing well together. I mean, as the year goes on, we're going to get better as a team. It certainly showed against Bob Jones. So I was excited about the result. We kind of held them to only 1, which is, I think, the lowest we've done all season. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, and Bry, did you get in the game last night?
No, sir. I had picked up an injury in a game previous, so I didn't get to play.
Okay, but you were right there in the thick of it on the bench, and probably were privy to all sorts of conversations as far as what you guys needed to do to get that win. Impressive team win altogether, huh?
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. The boys really came together, and I think it's going to be a good meter to show how we're going to do for.
Your mic.
Pull it up.
Yeah.
There you go.
How we're going to do for the years ahead. So, yeah.
Very good. Chris, one last thing about last night. When you were on the show before, we talked about the art of the long throw-in and what it takes to be the sort of player who can pull off the long throw-in, especially not being one of those types who does the full somersault, snap of the back. Your long throw-in resulted in a goal. Like, it was literally as good as any corner kick could ever do and resulted in a goal. How gratifying was that to, actually get some payoff from the long throw-in?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I mean, I've been doing that all year, so I figured throw it in enough times, it'd get finished once. So that's all you can do, really. But I'm just glad I was able to set up a goal for the team.
Now, earlier this season, Bry, you had a golden goal in a thriller in overtime. If you can go back in the memory banks, a few weeks and recreate that one, tell the audience, how that all constructed itself, and obviously, you ultimately finding the back of the net for a game-winning goal.
So shout out to my main man Fish. He gathered the ball and gave me a header, and I was on the back line, and everyone thought I was going to be offsides because that day, the ref was just throwing the flag up for it. And I got it, collected it at my feet, dropped a little bit. I kind of got nervous because the touch was kind of off. Turned, looked the goalie in his eyes. I was like, man, this is it. So I slotted it home and, went to celebrate. It was a good feeling.
Yeah, nothing like the golden goal and the celebration that follows from that. Now, Senior Day on Saturday, gentlemen. Like to hear from each of you as far as how meaningful, it's going to be on Senior Day, to kind of, symbolically, close out your Brevard College career and, tell me about what it's been like to be a student athlete here at Brevard College.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fun. It's been fun 4 years. Yeah, it's kind of flown by, kind of how fast it really has gone. I'm just excited to finish it out with a good team, good group of guys. So just kind of a nice feeling just to close out at home with a bunch of home games just lined up. Then instead of being on the road every other weekend. But I enjoyed my experience here at Brevard College as a student athlete.
And Bry, how about yourself? Thoughts on Senior Day coming up?
It's going to be a relief. I've enjoyed every second of it. The boys have been phenomenal. The coaching has been phenomenal. The student athlete part was a struggle. Man, it was a struggle. Those 8 a.m.s are killer. But outside of that, I've enjoyed the professors and just the feel of being at Brevard College. It's a good change of scenery coming from Florida and being here in the mountains. You guys treated me like this was home. So it's been home for me.
It's great to hear. And I don't know if people realize just how tough it is to be a student athlete, to juggle training, the games, the travel, the schoolwork. It's tough. You're right. So I totally understand. So men's soccer home on Friday against LaGrange at 2 p.m. and then Saturday home, Senior Day, right here at noon. Anybody you want to give a shout out to as far as, family, friends back home who might be tuning in on Facebook Live, heading into Senior Day?
You want to go first?
I got just my family and friends coming up to see, just seeing it close out.
First, I want to shout out O-Block, Oakleaf, back home. If y'all are watching, what's good with you? Shout out Mom and Pops. I know you're watching right now. My brother, my sister, and the boys here. Matt, Alex.
Very good. Well, the cool thing about Facebook Live, even if they're not watching live, they can watch it on a replay. So eventually that shout out will get to them. So very nicely done, fitting all those folks in.
Yes, sir.
Guys, congratulations on a great career here at Brevard College. Good luck this weekend, Friday and Saturday, and we'll see you out there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that was Bry'Kendrick Moore and Chris Efenecy. As we shift gears yet again, now ready to talk a little climbing. Just bring that microphone nice and close there for me, Dawson.
There we go. Okay.
All right. So now to preview the upcoming climbing event, Carlton, Angell, Madison, Altman, and Dawson Jacobs, thanks for joining us on Tornado Talk.
Thank you. Yeah, of
Thanks.
course. Thank you.
Well, I had the pleasure of witnessing recently one of your practice sessions over at the Brevard Rock Gym. And one of the things we're trying to accomplish is to teach people about your sport. Because, hey, let's face it, not everybody knows about climbing. It is going to be an Olympic sport in 2020. So it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal. Carlton, let's start with you. When someone asks you, what is this climbing thing you do? How do you explain it to them?
Well, I just tell people my passion for it and help them understand what climbing is. Because as you said, a lot of people don't know what it is, and so once you start to experience and get outdoors and climb with a team and climb with your friends that appreciate it as much as you do, you learn to understand the sport. And when you start sending routes and sending harder and harder routes and getting stronger, the excitement of being on top of a boulder after you've succeeded a route you've been working on for a while is incredible.
Yeah, it sounds just fascinating, and I'm enjoying learning more and more about it. Madison, how did you discover the sport? And how, tell me about your path from there as far as being ultimately a student athlete here at Brevard College in climbing.
So my start was at a birthday party, surprisingly, and it's been 12 years.
So how old were you?
I don't even know. It's been so long.
Young.
Yeah, really young. But I basically grew up with having multiple coaches and different experiences and learning new things, and it's great to have different coaches and experience this.
Cool. And Dawson, how about yourself? How did you discover the sport? At what age did you start climbing? I'm sure. Heck, all babies and toddlers kind of climb, when it comes down to it. But when did you actually feel like, you got started in this deal?
It was probably about it was around when I was 12. We moved up here to Brevard, North Carolina from Columbia, South Carolina. And it's pretty flat down there, so not too much climbing. But there's a lot of climbing potential up here. And, I kind of moved from my younger childhood, soccer days. I used to play soccer and started climbing, and I've, loved it ever since.
Now, we're one of the few schools in the country to have a varsity team of, sport of climbing. Other places might have it as a club sport and individuals do it on their own time. Dawson, let's start with you. How critical is that, and what are the benefits of you guys being a unit in a team here at Brevard College?
I feel just team spirit kind of is everybody's kind of pushing each other to work as hard as possible. You all want to do your best so that you won't let the team down, and so that we can get that first place at nationals that we really want to get.
Now, Madison, when I witnessed your practice session, one thing I noticed was before you take on the climb, the climber sort of steps back and the wheels are turning in your brain, as far as, what the path is. Talk about those moments before you start climbing and what's going through your head then, and what are you planning on?
So what normally goes in my head is when I look at the route and try to focus and see where I want to go and how I want to climb it. And I just want to get in a state of mind where I can get something done and make progress on a route where I'm trying to improve on it. I just like to look at it and prepare myself before I get on.
Now, Carlton, I know the training isn't just climbing. That might be the fun part of training, but you do a lot of physical training beyond that to get your body in shape for optimum performance for those climbs. What are the sort of things you all do as a team, training-wise, to prepare for the competitions?
Yeah, a couple times a week, our coach has us doing specific workouts that are helping towards making us stronger for climbing in the gym at Brevard College. and then we run together every morning whenever we meet for those practices, and then whenever we're in the climbing gym, normally it starts out with we'll do like a 20-minute warm up, and then we'll start to climb some routes that we've been working on, and then after that we'll all get together and do a couple workouts, push-ups and pull-ups, and anyhow, so we do a variety of different things to make us well-rounded, to be able to climb stronger and stronger.
You've gotten this guy right here tired just thinking about it, but thanks for explaining all that to us, Carlton. Madison and then Dawson, last thing. For folks who want to come on out to the event on Saturday, 2 p.m., help sell it for me. Why should they come out? What's going to be going on there exactly, and what can they expect if they head over to the Brevard rock climbing gym?
So you get to meet like a bunch of climbers that really just want people to get to know the sport, and I feel like it would be great for just new folks to come check it out, and maybe they want to try out climbing. It's a good opportunity to see what it's all about.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of good routes there and a lot of good route setters. I'm actually not going to be there for the comp just due to I have a Willie, the wilderness leadership class, and we're doing our weekend trip over that date, but it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be setting there, and we got good setters, and we're going to put up some awesome routes.
Yeah,
and I would imagine for anyone young and interested in getting in the sport, it's a perfect opportunity for them to check things out as well.
It's an incredible chance to get the community involved and more people to start understanding climbing and learn to love to compete and get some more competition.
Last one. The Brevard Rock Climbing Gym is literally right down the street, and it is a cool facility. Tell us a little bit about the gym, and does it have everything you guys need to prepare for the season?
I would say the gym has pretty much whatever you need to prepare for competitions. Even though it's small, but you get that family feel, and you can perform pretty well with the routes that they set, and you can the workouts and different stuff if you put the effort to improve.
Yeah. Well, for those who haven't checked it out, head on down to 240 South Broad Street right here in Brevard, North Carolina. Check out the Brevard Rock Gym, the home court for the Tornadoes, and the Tornadoes will be hosting their big fall competition this Saturday at 2 p.m. I know you guys will be doing plenty of stuff, leading up to the event, but the event goes off at 2 o'clock, and hopefully, a lot of folks can come down and check it out. So thanks for coming on this special edition of Tornado Talk. We're looking forward to you guys having a big weekend at the Brevard Rock Gym, and we'll be following every step of the way. Thanks for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, once again, Brevard College climbing with their big event this weekend, 2 o'clock at the Brevard Rock Gym. Hope you can check that out at some point on this busy weekend. And now to round out today's special edition of Tornado Talk, Coach Bill Khayat, head football coach here at Brevard College. Thanks for joining the show again, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Phil.
Well, before we get into what's coming up this weekend, as we always do, want to recap, this past weekend. Another game at Brevard Memorial Stadium that really came down to the final minute. Brevard ends up on the wrong side of the ledger, however, 29-21, but a thrilling conclusion to that game. Overall, first, the positives of what you saw on Saturday.
Well, let's start with how well the defense rebounded from the previous week. Did take a little bit of a beating against Huntington, and in fabulous fashion was able to come back and play an extremely strong game. And highly talented with the quarterback and the wide receiver position, and hold them under 200 yards passing, under 100 yards in rushing. Really outstanding by the defense. And then offensively, continuing to grow. If you look at the statistics, you would wonder how Brevard lost the game when you look at time of possession, number of first downs, total yards, and you can keep listing and listing and listing. And you'll see that offense did a tremendous job moving that ball. But when it all came down to it, anytime you talk to somebody about a football game and how you're going to win and how you're going to have a successful season, you always talk about being healthy. You always talk about being able to run the ball or stop the team from running the ball. And also the turnovers.
Yep.
And that is where the dagger came for us.
Yep, 3 turnovers, and North Carolina Wesleyan got the points off turnovers, as far as, making Brevard pay for those. Now, the game came down to a thrilling conclusion as Brevard started its final drive on the Tornadoes' 3-yard line, and Jacob Gravitt, led the team down the field all the way down to the last second. At that point, you would have needed a 2-point conversion also to force overtime, but what an effort that final drive.
And we've put these players in this position several times, and Jake has been the man to do the 2-minute drill throughout the season. So he's been used to doing that and has been able to move the ball successfully even in practice scenarios. So we had all the confidence in the world that we'd be able to do it. And sure enough, whether it was beautiful completions down the field or Jake using his legs to get free and run down the field. So it was a well-rounded combination of 11 players all doing the right things. And at no point did we not think that we were going to get into that end zone.
Now, the other player that really came alive in that second half was Bubba Craven. If I believe I'm correct, he didn't have any catches in the first half and then just went off for a couple big first downs in that second half. How huge was Bubba?
Well, in the first half, the ball didn't end up in his hands just based on coverage. So that's a read by a quarterback, route combinations, and coverage dictates where the ball goes. So at certain times, you're just not be able to get to the ball to certain receivers. Second half, with some of the adjustments made with the route combinations and the layout, and then tied in with the coverages that we got, Bubba was able to make some great plays. And heck, even one of them was a great adjustment by the quarterback who saw something while we had a run play on and saw that Bubba had a chance to get it. So he called his own number and made that throw to Bubba. So, again, to have him come alive the way he did in the second half really thrust us toward victory.
Now, we talk about it every show, and it continues to be a highlight for the Tornadoes is special teams. One, Trayvon Charles with a couple more, big kickoff returns. And then the other play that was significant was late in the game, Ralph Roman III pinned North Carolina Wesleyan way back there with a beautiful punt to pin them inside the 5. Talk about the special teams unit for us, Coach.
Okay, you mentioned Trey Charles again. I mean, this is week in and week out now. We seem to be mentioning his name. And think about all the snaps that he's taking defensively. And then he'll come right back out and have to be on a kickoff return and get us huge yardage doing that. So he's a great inspiration to those around him. And that's why all those guys get on their blocks, because they know that if they can get in front of the man that they're assigned to block, he can do some magical things with the ball. And then Ralph, what an incredible, well-rounded athlete. And I know you and I have mentioned him in the past as well. And in crucial situations, big players come up with big plays. And, you get a little bit of luck with a bounce, but, again, with where he placed the ball, things were able to happen for us.
One last player I'd like to bring up from this past contest against North Carolina Wesleyan, a player who we haven't talked about yet on the show who had a big game, Cortez Scales Jr., 2 catches for 38 yards, but a big touchdown grab. Tell us about Cortez.
What a wonderful target, first of all. I mean, I think you just look at him in the uniform and you see what an imposing man he is. And just haven't been able to get him the ball by no intention to not get him the ball, but again, just the way that things worked out. So he had a few touches in the past, but really a breakout game for him. And just based on things that we saw on film that we knew certain plays would work against Wesleyan. And sure enough, on a route concept that we hadn't completed all year, okay, there's a specific route that we run by our X receiver, which is what CJ plays, and it had never been thrown or caught this year. And last year, that was one of the predominant routes that we caught. So there was a little bit of joking and teasing about that particular route. And sure enough, Dalton held in there, coming out off a boot with a player in his face, and stood in and didn't mind taking a hit and let that ball ride. And CJ was wide open for the touchdown.
So turn the page now. Looking ahead, LaGrange this Saturday. We're a couple days into the week already. How has practice gone this week, and what's your message to the team heading into this weekend?
Okay, that's the reason for the hat and the sweatshirt. Just came off the practice field. My apologies for the dress. But you have to look at the opponent, start with the head coach. So the head coach just got thrust into the job this summer. And he's a former University of Georgia player. And he played in the secondary. So he's a defensive guy. So he's the former defensive coordinator the last several years and got moved up to be the head coach. So it's a defensive mindset. So a little bit of change for their offense. They used to be in that air raid and throwing the ball down the field. Well, they still will throw the ball. They can get it vertical. If you look at the statistics, quarterbacks up there with passing yards, got some receivers up there with receptions and yardage. So we're going to have to be able to stop that vertical passing game for sure. Defensively, it's a kind of a tale of two teams defensively. They kind of started out in one direction, kind of flowing into another, really trying to take advantage of the players' skill sets, much like we do here at Brevard. So the secondary is probably the most active of the group, and again, it comes from the head coach. The players are a reflection of the head coach, so as a former safety, they like to get the safeties involved, whether that's parts of coverage or pressures, things of that nature.
Now, we talked about it every show. That home field advantage that can be created at Brevard Memorial Stadium. Any fan who's come to the first two home games has gotten his or her money's worth. I mean, they've been thrillers from a fan standpoint, all the way down to the final seconds. Reiterate for our audience, how important it is that we get a good crowd out there on Saturday to help the team to victory.
Right, and these young men, they're in the process of learning how to win. So all sorts of different scenarios play out in every game. And there's all different types of games. So there's ones where you may have a big lead. You might be tight. You may be behind. So this is one that we happen to be behind, and everything that could possibly go wrong in the second quarter went wrong. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, you can single out the 4 plays that ultimately led to our demise. So, but that second half, we started out flat. So we played flat. The fans were flat because there wasn't really anything happening. And then once we started making a play and then another play, and the crowd got involved, and then that is when all that energy started flying through that stadium.
Yep.
And I could feel it all the way down on the field, which means those players could feel it as well. And that's why that fourth quarter looked as great as it did.
Couple more things, Coach. One thing we haven't touched on here on this show, and this is more of kind of a big picture question, is your coaching staff. A lot of experience on that staff. Tell the audience and educate us a little bit, just how talented and how knowledgeable that staff is, and all that NFL experience, that's got to go a long way as far as, molding this group of young men.
Well, when I first came to Brevard, accepted the job about 18 months ago, when Juan Mascaro was the athletic director, I let him know before anything else I needed to have a staff, okay? And this staff had to be a fountain of knowledge. And I took on what we do here at Brevard as far as our education is concerned, where we like to have a student-teacher ratio of 12, 13 people in a class with one teacher.
Yep.
So if we're going to say that is one way to help people learn, then shouldn't that apply within the sport? Because I still have information that I need to get to the player. So if I'm going to have 110 players, then the math would suggest that I need some coaches, and more than 2.
Sure.
So he was very accepting to it and allowed me to bring on what is a very large staff, certainly for Division III football. So I went to the guys that I know well, guys that I've worked with in the past, and have a lot of experience with them, so I know how they are in the workplace. I know their backgrounds. I know the knowledge that they have. I know how they interact with players. I know how they interact with staff. And most importantly, I knew that they would be able to get the information from their brain into the brains of the players. And the players would give them the immediate respect that they deserve because of their history with the game. And it was always been important to me as a player. I played tight end. And it always seemed like at tight end, I would have a coach who was the head coach's friend or the head coach owed a favor to, because they always thought that, oh, it's the tight end. You can just have the O-line coach help out in the run game, wide receiver coach help out in the pass game. So I always felt like I got the short shrift at that position. And when I ended up playing at the Baltimore Ravens for Coach Ken Wisenhunt, who ultimately was a head coach of the Tennessee Titans and Arizona Cardinals, he was a former tight end. And I learned so much in such a short period of time. And I said, when I get my own team, I want to make sure that I do the same for them that was done for me when I was at Baltimore. And that's why I bring in Kurt Gavea to coach the linebackers. That's why I bring in Everett Lindsay to coach the offensive line.
Coach Gavea, by the way, if you're not familiar, 3-time Super Bowl champion with the Washington Redskins, had some interceptions in those games in the Super Bowl. I mean, a star, like a huge name.
And a winner on all levels. So don't forget, he won the Pee Wee championship in Hawaii. All right, won the high school championship in Hawaii, won the national championship at college at BYU, and then won the championship in pro football, which was the Super Bowl. So all-around winner.
And I know that sort of experience goes on down the whole staff.
Exactly. So we have Everett Lindsay at the offensive line. 11 years in the NFL, started at all 5 positions. Find a whole lot of guys that have done that. Eric Gallen, great running back at Kansas State, played for the New England Patriots at running back, coached it. Andrew Bather, wide receiver coach, played Division I football, played for me at Tennessee State. Garrett Kruzik, quarterback coach, UCF, played at Eastern Kentucky. So, I mean, you see the kind of things that we have on offense. Defensively, same idea. So we have Luke Jakes. I played a big-time ball. Had Jaron Gavea, Virginia Tech. So we know that whole history, why he's tied into the special teams with Frank Beamer and his background. Eric Lambert, University of Virginia. So another ACC guy. And Randy Finley, who I'm most proud of, who I got from our Soldiers of Sideline program. And he went into the military September 15th, 2001. So you can figure out what prompted that. And just an incredible educator and coach.
Yeah, it really just a fantastic story.
And then the big name for our recruiting coordinator, again, Coach Dynamite.
That's right.
And don't ever call him Coach Kuhn. So Coach Dynamite is our recruiting coordinator and football operations. And, I mean, that's really how our team got built. Think about it, we had 17 players in the spring of 2017. And now we're at 120 on the roster. So he's really done an incredible job spearheading that.
Well, the future looks very bright for Brevard College. I know you're focused on this week, but, from many of ours perspective, when we take a step back, we can see this growth, and, we've got such a young team, so things are going to only get better as time moves on. Let's just wrap it up again this weekend, 2 o'clock, home against LaGrange. Hopefully plenty of you fans can make it out for another thriller there. What's your message been to the team, and what's it going to be in these final couple of days of preparation before LaGrange?
Beat LaGrange. Quite simple.
Yeah.
But I want the focus to be on nothing else but winning this game and all the wonderful things that it will do for us to get this victory.
Makes a lot of sense to me, Coach. Well, 3 more opportunities this year to see the Brevard College Tornadoes at Brevard Memorial Stadium, all beginning this Saturday, 2 o'clock versus LaGrange. Hope many of you can come out and support the Tornadoes. An exciting brand of football out there. There's no doubt about it. You fans will love it. Coach, thanks for joining the show again. Special edition of Tornado Talk. Appreciate having you on.
All right, thanks, Phil.
All right, Coach Bill Khayat wrapping up today's special edition of Tornado Talk. A action-packed program today. Want to thank all of our guests. We had all 11 cyclists who represented Brevard College at the national championships for mountain biking up in Missoula, Montana this past weekend. The 11 cyclists are back. The coaches have made it back to North Carolina as well, driving that trailer back. Tyler Orschel, Hannah Arensman, Carson Beckett, Scott McGill, Zack Lowden, Hannah Dickson, Nicole Rusden, Nathan St. Clair, Tyler Clark, Will Hegedus, and Lucas Pound. Just want to congratulate those 11 once again for a fantastic showing at the USA Cycling Collegiate Mountain Bike National Championships up in Missoula, Montana. The Brevard College team finished 4th in that event, 4th best team this year in mountain biking in the nation. We also had 2 women's soccer seniors who will be honored this Saturday on the show, Mai Sakuma and Lane Berchtold. Congratulations to both of them on great Brevard College careers, and hope you can make it out on Saturday to symbolically congratulate the women's soccer seniors. We also had 2 men's soccer seniors on the show. I want to thank both of them for coming on. Bry Moore and Chris Efenecy. Great to talk to those 2 coming off that 3-1 win last night to Bob Jones. We had 3 climbers on the show. Carlton Angell, Madison Altman, and Dawson Jacobs. They are preparing for their big event on Saturday, so it was great to learn a little more about the sport of climbing and talk to those 3 student athletes. And the show wrapped up, of course, with head football coach Bill Khayat. Thanks for Coach Khayat for coming on the show like he does every week. We'll be back at Dugan's Pub on Monday coming up at 7 p.m. Just want to tell you briefly about what's coming up athletically in these coming days, and hopefully you can catch a lot of this action either on bctornadoes.com or in person. Women's soccer on the road tomorrow at Pfeiffer at 5 p.m. Volleyball, their final home match of the year tomorrow night at the Bosch, 6 p.m. versus Agnes Scott. Friday, cross country heads off to the USA South Championships in Maryville, Tennessee. Men's soccer with a home match versus LaGrange. That's 2 p.m. Friday. Volleyball is on the road Saturday in Lookout Mountain, Georgia, and then a full slate of home events. 12 noon, men's soccer home for senior day. 2 o'clock, we just talked to Bill Khayat about the home football game against LaGrange at Brevard Memorial Stadium. That's 2 p.m. kickoff. 2 o'clock as well, the climbing competition at the Brevard Rock Climbing Gym. And then 3 p.m., women's soccer at home versus Regent for senior day. Women's soccer has one additional home match. That's 3 p.m. on Monday the 29th. 7 p.m., we'll be back with Tornado Talk here on Facebook Live on Monday the 29th. And then 9 o'clock, Tornado Tip-Off at the Bosch as we really get the campus community pumped up about the start of men's and women's basketball starting on Monday, October 29th at 9 p.m. Want to thank all that made this possible. Want to thank the folks here at the Myers Dining Hall for being such gracious hosts. Hopefully the chopped competition was a thriller on the other side of the dining hall. And want to thank everyone who made this program possible. We'll catch you next time on Tornado Talk. Thanks for joining the show.